Hello, Year 10. Welcome to Lesson 13's writing tip, the final one of our module. It's all about punctuation and colons in particular. If you can't remember anything about semicolons, can I encourage you to go back to Lesson 2's top tips video, which shows you how to use a semicolon correctly, just to make sure that you know the difference between the two. I think colons are slightly easier if it's anything off your mind. So the best way to describe what a colon does is that it introduces things. Okay, so you write a little kind of sentence or a clause, if you will, independent clause. You put a colon in, and it introduces what comes next. And the best analogy I can give you for a colon are two hands going ta-da. So this is Will Smith kind of introducing his wife on the red carpet, and those two hands neatly aligned like a colon remind me of what a colon does. Okay, so a colon comes after a standalone sentence to introduce another standalone sentence. So here is a colon in an image. So how do we use one? The easiest way to get a colon into your work is to put it before a list. But there's one simple rule, colon, because now I'm going to introduce that rule. Just like the semicolon, the two things either side must make sense on their own. So just like Will Smith is a full person without his wife, your sentence before your colon must be a full sentence as well as the one that comes after. Okay, so these are called independent clauses. Here I've got an example in red that's not quite grammatically correct and a better improvement in green. So instead of writing, I went to the shop and bought pasta, toilet roll, and hand sanitizer. Yes, I've introduced my list and I've used a colon to do it. It's kind of halfway there, but I wouldn't ever write a sentence, I went to the shop and bought, and put a full stop there, because it's not a full sentence. It wouldn't make sense on its own. So to improve what comes before that colon into an independent clause, I would better be writing, I went to the shop for essentials, pasta, toilet roll, and hand sanitizer. So I'll let you make up your mind as to how essential they are. I went to the shop to stock up, you might put, okay? But something that would make sense where you could put a full stop before you introduce that list. Now, the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed another important bit of punctuation that I've used in my list, which is this little bad boy called the Oxford comma. I'm a big fan of the Oxford comma. However, students pull me up on it all the time because lower down in their education they've been told not to put a comma before and. However, Oxford University folks are very rarely wrong, and very rarely wrong in matters of the English language. So the Oxford comma is a really important thing that separates items in a list before that word and. Okay, so it's like the penultimate item that it separates from the ultimate, that last item. And I'm just going to show you two images that remind us why the Oxford comma is really important before an and. So here we have invitations. We've got invitations going to the rhinoceri, to George Washington, and to Abraham Lincoln. And if you use a comma, then you separate those three invitees, if you will, into three separate people who are standalone figures. However, if you don't include that Oxford comma in that bottom picture, then it suggests that the rhinoceri were Washington and Lincoln. Okay, we invited the rhinoceri, Washington and Lincoln. So what I can do is suggest that what comes after that comma is the thing that's been introduced. So it can imply that Washington and Lincoln are those rhinoceri. Another thing that it can do is imply that the things at the end of the list go together. Okay, so if you were saying what you'd had for breakfast and you said, I had eggs, toast, and orange juice, and you separated them all with a comma, then you had those three things separately. Delicious. But if you don't, then sometimes you end up with toast and orange juice together. Okay, because imagine if that list had been, I had eggs, toast, and butter. Then you would expect the toast and butter to go together without that comma. So it just makes it really clear that those are separate things or separate people. So get your colons in before your lists. Make sure that you've used a full sentence before the colon. See if you can get an Oxford comma in before your and. Good luck.